Imagine opening your phone and every video you watch, every headline you read, every political post, every recommendation, every ad has been carefully designed to manipulate you psychologically without you even noticing. Now imagine discovering something very similar actually happened, and millions of personal profiles were allegedly used to influence elections, political opinions, emotional reactions, behavior, and large-scale social decisions, all through social media data. The scandal had a name, Cambridge Analytica, and when the story exploded, the entire world began asking an extremely disturbing question. What happens if the internet no longer simply shows information, but starts actively shaping how people think? For years, millions of people used social media believing they were simply sharing photos, likes, and opinions. But behind the screens, a new industry was growing silently. The industry of psychological data. Because every click, every post, every interaction, every emotional reaction generated valuable information. Information capable of revealing personality, fears, political ideology, emotional impulses, insecurities, and psychological behavior patterns. And the more advanced algorithms became, the more powerful that information turned into. Until some companies started asking an extremely dangerous question: what if data could be used to manipulate entire populations? You are entering Crazy World Facts, the place where disturbing conspiracies, technological secrets, and mysteries capable of changing your perception of reality become impossible to ignore. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare yourself. Because today we are entering a real story that made millions of people begin distrusting the internet itself. Cambridge Analytica was a company specializing in data analysis and political strategy. But what made it globally infamous was the way it allegedly obtained information from millions of Facebook users. According to later investigations, personal data was used to create incredibly detailed psychological profiles. Not just age or location, complete emotional profiles. Anxious people, impulsive people, individuals vulnerable to fear-based messaging, people emotionally sensitive to certain political narratives. And the more accurate the psychological profile became, the easier it was to create messages capable of emotionally influencing each specific individual. That is exactly what made this scandal feel so terrifying. The realization that the internet was no longer simply informing people, it was learning how to psychologically influence them. Imagine two people opening the exact same social media platform, but seeing completely different realities, different news, different emotional triggers, different political narratives, different fears, all optimized through algorithms constantly learning how each person reacts psychologically. Fear, anger, paranoia, distrust, and all carefully amplified through personalized digital systems. That is exactly why the Cambridge Analytica scandal became so massive, because millions of people suddenly started asking an extremely uncomfortable question. How much of what we believe is truly our own opinion? And how much has been shaped by systems specifically designed to influence us? And honestly, that question feels even more disturbing today than it did years ago. Because modern society is now completely surrounded by algorithms, artificial intelligence, personalized advertising, digital emotional manipulation, and systems capable of analyzing human behavior in real time. And the deeper investigators looked into the scandal, the more disturbing everything became. Because Cambridge Analytica was not simply analyzing data, it was allegedly using psychological information to influence voters through hyper-personalized campaigns. Some users received content specifically designed to trigger fear. Others saw messaging intended to increase anger or paranoia. and others were targeted with political narratives carefully crafted around their emotional weaknesses. All powered by algorithms, all powered by behavioral analysis. And that is where millions of people suddenly realized something terrifying. The internet was no longer just an information tool. It was becoming a system of mass psychological influence. The most disturbing part is that most people had absolutely no idea it was happening. Because modern digital manipulation rarely feels like manipulation. It feels normal. A video, a headline, a post, an innocent-looking recommendation. But behind every suggestion, algorithms may already be analyzing how long you watch something, which emotions affect you most, what topics make you angry, what scares you, and what messages are most likely to influence your behavior. And the more time humanity spends online, the more psychological data gets voluntarily handed over. That is exactly what makes this topic so unsettling. The feeling that millions of people are constantly being analyzed without fully understanding how deep the systems actually go. When the scandal finally exploded publicly, the impact was enormous. Investigations, hearings, global debates about privacy, and millions of people suddenly asking how much large technology companies truly knew about them. Because the Cambridge Analytica case revealed something extremely uncomfortable. Personal data had become one of the most powerful weapons on Earth. Psychological information, habits, preferences, fears, political beliefs. Everything could potentially become material for influencing human behavior. And honestly, that feels far more disturbing than many fictional conspiracy theories. Because this one actually happened. And maybe the most unsettling part of this entire story is that modern technology is probably far more advanced now than it was during the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Today, there are artificial intelligence systems, predictive algorithms, emotion analysis technology, deepfakes, behavioral models, and platforms constantly learning from billions of users. That means the ability to digitally influence people is likely becoming more powerful every single year. And the more humanity depends on the internet, the more vulnerable human perception becomes. Because once algorithms understand your fears, your emotions, your impulses, your opinions, and your psychological weaknesses, manipulation stops feeling like science fiction. It starts feeling like the future. Cambridge Analytica was not just another technology scandal, it was a warning. A demonstration of how personal data can become a tool for mass influence. And maybe that is exactly what makes this story so disturbing. Because millions of people realized too late that the internet was not only observing human behavior, it was learning how to manipulate it. And the more advanced artificial intelligence, algorithms, social media systems, and psychological analysis technology become, the harder it becomes to know where information ends and where manipulation begins. If you enjoy disturbing conspiracies, technological secrets and mysteries capable of completely changing your perception of reality, subscribe to Crazy World Facts. Because sometimes the most terrifying stories are not the ones we imagine about the future. They're the ones already happening right now.